Good morning, YouTube. Well, here I am out for a little ride this morning. I kind of got ousted out of the house. It's all good. My wife is having some friends over to watch I don't know, a chick flick or some TV shows they had recorded, wanted to watch together. That made it very easy for me to get out of the house. So, thought I'd go for a little ride, squeeze in a little vlog while I'm at it. I don't think I've ever made this light. Interesting thing, after 20 years of marriage to the same woman, we've come to an understanding with each other. And this happened not just this year. When I say 20 years, I make mention of that because we have been married for 20 years. We've known each other even longer. But being married for 20 years, and somewhere in there, we managed to work something out where we each get to be our own individual people. There's not a lot of resentment. If I want to go out with the guys, I want to go out and do things on my own, whether it's riding motorcycles or meeting up with friends at a cigar store. I have a band as well, and my band, you know, a lot of times that can suck up a lot of time, but I try to incorporate a lot of that with my family as well. Many times we'll book gigs where it would be a family environment, not just bars and dives and places like that, but you know, places that sort of do dinner and entertainment together. And those are typically the kind of places that we'll play, so it's not like I'm always disappearing and I'm not contributing to the family environment. But my point is that we've grown in our relationship to the point where we can go out and do things on our own. So as I was saying, it's nice to be at this point in our relationship, in our marriage, where we have an understanding with each other. We go out and do our own things. We do plenty of things together, of course, as a family and everything else. It's not like we don't enjoy each other's company, but I see a lot of younger couples where they're not even younger couples, but new couples. So they could be older folks who are simply new to being a couple or new to being married. And what's interesting about that is that there really seems to be this, I don't know, codependent attitude where, you know, everything you do without me is because you don't like me, that sort of thing. Which is, you know, I suppose when you're a young couple, you know, you want to do everything together. You don't want to live and breathe a moment separate from each other. And I'm not saying that as you get older, that isn't the case. But there also comes a point where you have to respect the fact that each other likes things that the other might not. Now, my wife has a motorcycle, but just blindly going for rides is not her thing. And I mean, I don't completely understand that. But she doesn't keep me from going. We're coming up on one of my favorite stretches of road here. It'll be fun. It's a bit windy out. I don't know if you can see those flags over there, but I've already felt the wind pushing me around just a little bit as I got up to speed. This road right here is where I'll go many times to test ride after I've made an adjustment or working on things. With the points ignition on my Royal Enfield, this is a great place to come up and ping set your timing. And for those of you not familiar with ping set, you get your timing as close as you can with the points to whatever degree your motorcycle specs call for, and do static timing. So in the garage, you'll get it as close as you can to top dead center, and then you'll 8 degrees or 5 degrees before top dead center for the flame rollout. And that's usually pretty close, and that usually does the trick for most people. But without running the motorcycle, you don't get that, you don't get the change up that many times you need for when the advance mechanism kicks in. You just can't get that while the bike is sitting on the center stand idling. So I'll do what's called ping set, and I'll get my timing as close as I can static, and then I'll bring it up to a road like this where you have to sort of be in a low gear, keep your acceleration up. Then there'll come a point where the end grade on the road is good enough that you can kind of go wide open throttle and start listening for any ping. So I'll get it set where it needs to be, is static timing, and then I'll roll out, get up here, go for a little ride, and listen for the ping. I'll keep advancing the timing little by little as I keep climbing these hills, and then when I get to a point where I start to recognize some ping, I go ahead and back it off to the previous setting. And that's, for me, that's about as accurate as you're going to get with this type of ignition system. And that's good enough for me. It's not like this thing's a racehorse. I just want it to run effectively. There's a dead snake in the road. Awesome. I have been out riding on a dirt bike one time. Look at these changing topics as soon as I see a snake in the road. When I used to do a bit of trail riding, I had a friend who was riding up ahead of me, and that always sucks because then you're eating his rocks and dirt. But we took turns taking the lead. And we were out trail riding in the desert, and as we were riding, he ran over a snake, and the wheel sort of, just the way the snake reacted, of course they have lightning fast reactions. Hey, look at this. And they have lightning fast reactions, so right as he rolled over it, the snake recoiled, and whether it was in pain or just instinct, but ended up getting caught around the tire a bit, and then got flung up onto the side of the bike. And this particular buddy of mine, he had an aversion to snakes in the first place, so once he realized what had flapped up around him, let's just say his movements on the motorcycle at that point were less than graceful. Looking at you, looking at me. Good. So yeah, snakes in the road, not always a good combo with motorcycles. At any rate, this is a road that I like to take to sort of test things out, timing and otherwise. I'll take it up. We're at a steady in-grade the entire time we're going up. And it's not too fast, but you can still take some of these curves a little quick, and that sort of gives you a measure as to how the bike is handling. And I'm very familiar with this road, so because I'm familiar with it, I always come back to it, and I'm familiar with how my bike and the bikes that I work on react to it. So even if I'm going to help someone else, I think I just took a bug on the GoPro there, but even if I'm going to work on the bike with someone else, or someone else's bike I should say, I'll come out and test ride it out here first if it's at all possible, because I know this route better. So just knowing that, I don't know, I guess it's a tip, a mechanic's tip. Know the road that you test ride on, Try to ride out there every time. You make changes to your suspension, you make changes to your performance, things like that. Well, it's always good. It's always good to know and be familiar with that stretch of road. Here we go. It's funny, the signs on there said a leading left. The other section was still going, so. So at any rate, I thought I would share that route with you and share that little bit of knowledge. My wife, though, coming up and having her friends over today, it's always kind of funny. You know, they come over and they like to watch some of the more risque shows, or some of the stuff you might see on Showtime. I don't know, I liken it to when women used to read those romance novels and things like that. There's nothing wrong with it, absolutely nothing wrong with it at all. And it's a nice way for her to fellowship with her friends and her sister and some family and stuff that come over for it. And that's all well and good. I'm not laughing at that. I just, interestingly enough, it offers me and it affords me the opportunity to come out and go for a ride. So I thought I'd take you folks along. At any rate, that's all I got for now. So, you know, 20 years of marriage, we can do our own things and still get back together. No hard time, no resentment. I took you up one of my favorite roads for tuning the bike and test riding. And that'll be that. I'll let you go. I think I'm going to go ahead and hack this intersection sit because it's not fun. I hate these long intersection sits. Wow, another 15 seconds until this light changes? You gotta be kidding me. I mean, honestly. For a Sunday morning, there's a lot of traffic out here.